Pistol shots in a ballroom night. Enters Patty Valentine from the upper hall. She sees the bartender in a pool of blood. Cries out, "Oh my God, they have killed them all." Here comes the story of the hurricane, the man the authorities came to blame for something that he never done. Put in a prison cell, but one time could have been champion of the world. 3 bodies lying there, does Patty see? And another man named Bello moving around mysteriously. "I didn't do it," he says, and he threw up his hands. "I was only robbing the register, I hope you understand. I saw them leaving," he says, and he stops. "One of us has better call up the cops." And so Patty calls up the cops, and they arrive on the scene with their flashing red lights on a hot New Jersey night. Meanwhile, far away in another part of town, Reuben Carter and a couple friends were out driving around. The #1 contender for the middleweight crown had no idea what kind of shit was about to go down when a cop pulled them over to the side of the road. Just like the time before then and the time before that. In Patterson, that's just the way things go. If you're black, you might as well not show up in the streets unless you wanna draw the heat. Alphabetto had a partner who had a rap for the cops. Him and Dexter Bradley were just prowling around. He said, "I saw 2 men running, they looked like the middleweights. They jumped into a white car with out-of-state plates." And Miss Patty Valentine just nodded her head. Cop said, "Wait a minute, boys, this one's not dead." So they took him to the infirmary, even though this man couldn't hardly see. They told him that they could identify the guilty men. 4 in the morning, they haul Reuben in, take him to the hospital, then they bring him upstairs. The wounded man looks up to his one dying eye and says, "What you bring him here for? He ain't that guy." Here comes the story of the hurricane, the man the authorities came to blame for something that he never done. Put in a prison cell, but one time could have been champion of the world. 4 months later, ghettos are in flames. Reuben in South America fighting for his name, while Officer Dexter's still in the robbery game. And the cops are putting the screws to him, looking for somebody to blame. Remember that murder that happened in the bar? Remember you said you saw the getaway car? You think you like playing ball with the law? Think you might have been that fighter that you saw running at night? Don't forget that you are white. Officer Dexter said, "I'm really not sure." Cop said, "A poor like you could really use a break. Well, I got you for that Motown job, and we're talking to your friend Bello. Now you don't want to go back to jail. You better be a nice fellow. You'll be doing society a favor. That son of a bitch is brave and getting braver. We wanna put his ass in a stir. We wanna pin a triple murder on him. He ain't no gentleman Jill. Reuben can take a man out with just 1 punch. But he never would like to talk about that too much. It's my work, he says, and I do it for my pay. Yes. And when it's all over, I just as soon as go on my way up into some paradise where the trout streams flow and the air is nice. I ride a horse along the trail, but then they took him to the jailhouse where they turned a man into a mouse. All of Ruben's cars were marked in advance. The trial was a big circus, he never had a chance. The judge made Ruben witness a junkyard for the slums. To the white folks who watched, he was just a revolutionary bum. And to the black folks, he was just some crazy nigga. And no one doubted that he really pulled the trigger. And although they could not produce the gun, and they said he was the one who did the deed, and all the white jury agreed, Reuben Carter was falsely tried. The crime was murder one. Guess who testified? Bello and Bradley, they both badly lied. In the newspaper, they all went along for the ride. How can a life of such a man be in the palm of some fool's hands? To see him obviously framed couldn't help but make you feel ashamed to live in a land where justice is a game. Now all the criminals in that coach in their ties are free to drink martinis and watch the sunrise, while Reuben sits like a Buddha in a 10-foot cell, an innocent man in a living hell. Now that's the story of the hurricane, but it won't be over until they clear his name and give him back the time that he's done. Put in a prison cell, but one that could have been champion of the world.